Buy to let, thatched, commercial. We're your high street insurance brokers for all types of insurance. Avoid faceless internet firms.
High House Insurance, do it face to face.
See Neil and the friendly team at High Street Selsey.
High House Insurance, do it face to face.
Or call Selsey 606 552.
Hello, Mary Kennedy here. Welcome to this week's programme. Beryl Fletcher will tell you what's on in Selsey. Then we'll have a poem, a recipe from Lynn and Giles's gardening tips. Following those, an interview from the Mulberry Divers shop, then a scary ghost story. And this week's thought for the day comes from Bruce Allenson. So, over to Beryl for what's on.
Hello, Beryl Fletcher here again with what's on in Selsey. For those families with toddlers, a parent and toddler group takes place in the Methodist Church Hall in the High Street from 1:30 p.m. until 3 p.m. This is every Tuesday afternoon. Please note that this is only during school term time. Cost is just £1 per family. Further details can be obtained from Janice on 01243 782 335. On Friday mornings, again this is during school term time, the Sunbeams Parent and Toddler Group is held from 10 a.m. until 11:45 a.m. at the East Beach Church in Marysfield Place. All are most welcome, including grandparents. Cost is 50p per session. Please contact Rosemary on 605 236 for any further information. The Selsey Camera Club meet on alternate Mondays, held in St Wilfrid's Church Hall, Church Road at 7:30 p.m. Their next meeting will be on Monday, the 17th of February. For further information, ring between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. on 01243 603 616. Why not try your hand at carpet bowls, held at Mulberry Primary School in School Lane. New members are most welcome and all equipment is provided. Meetings are held on Wednesday and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. and on Sundays at 9:30 a.m. and again at 3 p.m. The first Selsey Scouts charity shop, based in the Scouts headquarters in School Lane, opens every Saturday morning between 10 a.m. and 12 noon. A variety of bric-a-brac and books will be on sale. Link are holding their February meeting on Thursday the 20th of February in St Peter's Church Hall. Meetings commence at 7:15 p.m. The speaker for the evening will be Roger Clark with his talk and drawings entitled Books on Wheels. All ladies are welcome. Cost for the evening is £1.50, which does include tea, coffee and a free raffle ticket. February films to be shown at the Selsey Cinema Club, held in the Selsey Town Hall, are as follows. A children's matinee on Monday the 24th of February is a family comedy entitled Cloudy with a Change of Meatballs Too. Started at 3:30 p.m, cost is £2. The evening film, with doors opening at 7 p.m, is About Time. The director, Richard Curtis, previously created Love Actually and 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Tickets cost £5. On Friday, the 28th of February, for those who like to play bingo, a prize bingo session is scheduled to take place at the Academy School, with doors opening at 6:30 p.m, eyes down at 7 p.m. Good luck with that if anybody that goes along. For any budding entertainers, make a note for your diary for Thursday the 13th of March, when an open mic show is being held at the Seal in Selsey. These shows provide an opportunity for musicians, singers and performers to gain experience before a live audience. Entry is free. Time is 9 p.m. until 11 p.m. Further details can be obtained on 01243 602 461. Looking ahead somewhat, I have noted that in Emsworth a farmers' market will be taking place on Saturday the 15th of March, situated in the South Street car park from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m, where you could enjoy the taste of local produce, maybe a different way to spend a Saturday morning. Thank you for listening. Until the next time, we'll say bye for now.
Thank you, Beryl. Now for this week's poem.
Telling of Tales. Tell me a tale, take my heart by the hand, show me the path to a strange new land, where gentle winds blow, where the waves meet the shore and the bright plants grow. Tell me a tale to lighten my heart, to lift up my soul, not to tear it apart. Take the tears from my eyes, lift my voice to the skies. Tell me a tale that I can believe, not one that is false with its heart on its sleeve. Tell me a tale of daring do, of pirates and ships and their wild motley crew. Tell me a tale, make a magical tour, starting from childhood, nursery and rhyme. Stories that started warm and familiar at children's hour time. Tell me a tale. Now I am old and my bones feel the cold, so tell me a tale that is warm and light. Make my bones sing, make my eyes clear and bright, for imagination can be a panacea for free. Tell me a tale and fill it with glee, and I will in turn tell a tale to thee.
Lynn's recipe this week sounds just the thing for this miserable weather, a warming cottage pie.
Right, I'm here with Lynn again, and this week, I was told last week, we're going to do cottage pie. So, is there a big difference between cottage pie and shepherd's pie, Lynn?
Well, David, as we said last week, cottage pie is beef. It's not the lamb. And there are slight differences in what we do with the filling, in that we add Worcester sauce and try and get a really nice rich beefy flavour with it going, rather than the lamb. And I love cottage pie. It's something that we all grew up with, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Mum always made cottage pie, didn't she? You know, with the leftover meat from dinner on Sunday, and she used to have one of those old-fashioned grinders on the table, and she'd grind up that beef, and that's what would go into our cottage pie. Yeah. So there you go, leftover beef if ever you get any. Cottage pie. And on this one, we're going to slightly vary the mashed potato by doing a carrot and potato mash. One way to get the veg into the children, especially today, is to mash something up with your potatoes. They don't even realise it, really. Swede and carrot mash is really, really good to go on top of cottage pie.
And I'll tell you one we've had recently, that's celeriac and potato.
Wow.
And that was absolutely gorgeous as well.
See, all these different ways, that sounds lovely actually, I've not tried it and I'm going to now, but all these different ways of getting the vegetables into the children without them realising it. Cottage pie then, so for this then you want 500 grams of extra lean minced beef. And last week I said to you about the lamb, do get extra lean, don't go be tempted. I know it's very easy to be tempted by your supermarket offers of 3 for £10, but with this cottage pie, and they're great for different things, spaghetti bolognese, because you can get the fat off them before you put them in, but for this you want an extra lean minced beef. You want a really nice cottage pie going on here. You want 1 clove of garlic, crushed obviously, and chopped up very finely. You want 1 large onion that you're also going to chop very finely, 2 carrots, 500ml of beef stock, again go and buy a stock cube if you've not got any stock left from Sunday, 1 tablespoon of Worcester sauce. I love Worcester sauce, I absolutely adore it, so a tablespoon of Worcester sauce, and a tablespoon of tomato puree, and then of course your salt and freshly ground pepper just to season. For your potatoes you want 500 grams of Desiree, and 225 grams of carrots and a knob of butter. And a little milk if you need it. So fry your mince off until it's browned on a low heat. Add your garlic, onion and chopped carrots, and the carrots need to be very finely chopped. Alright? And cook them just for a couple of minutes. You don't need long at all, just to brown it off. Add your stock and the Worcester sauce and the tomato puree and salt and pepper to taste. Bring it to the boil and just simmer it for about quarter of an hour. That's all this one needs. It doesn't need that hour that the lamb needed last week. It's a very, very simple little recipe, this one. Cook your potatoes and your carrots, as we said last week. Simmer them on the stove until they're cooked. Enough to be able to give you a nice firm mash. Mash them all up with your butter and your milk. Lay them over the top of your filling in an oven-proof dish and oven bake at about 200 degrees centigrade until it's browned on the top. Again, you could drizzle it with olive oil on the top, that gives you your brown bit. And also if you fluff the potato up with a fork, it tends to brown the peaks of potato and it looks really lovely.
Yeah.
Alright, a very simple cottage pie, and you can scale that recipe down and make cottage pie for one, couldn't you? That would be good, wouldn't it? If you're on your own, you could make it one day, and this one you can actually freeze.
Yeah.
So this one you could freeze, you could make it on the Sunday and freeze it for the Thursday.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Lynn.
You're very welcome, David.
Thank you, Lynn. Now over to Giles.
We've got Giles Pearn back in the studio. Giles, we're nearly at the end of the month now, so what should we do in the garden?
Yes, we're getting towards, well, things are happening as always still. Outside, out in the countryside now, well, obviously, apart from the gardens, we've got the wild crocuses, wild primroses, aconites and violets, which are all beginning to make quite, appearances quite a bit now in the countryside.
They are beautiful, aren't they?
And it's a really lovely forerunner of spring, yeah, it's great, lovely to see. Obviously, the snails and slugs are having a heyday this time of year now. They've come out of their hibernation, and after all the wet we've had lately, they're going to have a great time. I'm not going to start involving about how to get rid of them because we've gone down this many times and there's too many ways to do it. But at the moment, I'd say just do what you can because they're going to be very much so. And it's nice to see that the gorse, the forsythia and the winter jasmine still have their yellow flowers. They're just coming to the end, but they've still got them on. And the same with the hazel catkins. They're all still showing, so they're still showing it. They're hanging on. They're the last of the winter flowers, if you like. Also, outside in the garden, it's lovely again to see the green tips of all the different bulbs that are coming. It's shoving up now through the grass or the borders, wherever they are. All these things are lovely to look at because it's a forerunner of things lovely. Spring's coming and things that really look nice. I would suggest now sowing a few early bedding plants in the heated, if one has a heated or semi-heated greenhouse. And you want to sow your own. Petunias, begonias and antirrhinums are good subjects to sow if you want to do your own, as I say, around about now. Lawns, a lot of them, especially after the battering we've had, there's a lot of wet patches. So when it's a bit drier little period, spike the bad patches, spike them as much as you can, and sort of level it out a bit. But as I do wait for a reasonable couple, at least 2 or 3 days of moderate weather to do it. But that is quite important. And then also, if you've got any strawberries outside, if you want to get some early strawberries, get a couple of cloches and put them over some of the strawberries outside. Yeah. And then you'll have an early feast of strawberries in the spring.
All right, an early crop.
An early crop, yeah, which will be nice. And the other thing to do now is this time of year is apply a good preservative to trellis and fences and gazebos before plants start full growth and you can't do it anymore.
Okay.
So that's the other thing to do. And the other thing we must think about this time of year is finish off any cropping programs. Get organised now. Finish off any program you got. Turn the compost heaps over regularly now as well. Replenish nesting material in bird nesting boxes. Make sure that it's all replenished now if you've got any. It's a nice little idea just to suggest maybe for someone might like to do from now on. Create what I call a scented arbour with a trellis planted with honeysuckle, scented clematis, wisteria and climbing roses. And you could have a lovely little trellis area with what I call a little scented arbour with those subjects.
Okay.
Be a lovely place.
So that'd be nice over a park, wouldn't it?
It would. And you could just sit out there and have a glass of wine and relax in the evening.
Right, that was a lovely idea.
Yeah, sounds good. It is good.
All right. Well, cheers then, John.
Cheers, Roo.
Thank you. And now to the Mulberry Divers shop.
Hello, this is Nick Jones, Selsey Internet Radio. This morning I'm with Linda Frampton, who's the co-owner with her husband of the Mulberry Divers. They operate from a shop in Selsey and let out boats for diving and the similar things. I'm going to ask Linda about the opportunities for diving around this area. Now she's going to be full of enthusiasm and tell you all about the exciting things available. Okay, over to you, Linda.
Okay. One of the south coast of England is one of the most fantastic places to go diving. There is just so much to see. Around Selsey, there's an incredible amount from the point of the bay at Newhaven through to the east end of the Isle of Wight. We have 700 wrecks and reefs.
Really?
The wrecks, yes, the wrecks are courtesy of World War I, World War II, and the busiest shipping lane in the world. Some of them are not suitable for diving. They are in the shipping lane, which makes them a bit dangerous, or they're a bit too deep for what we would call recreational diving. They would be more technical diving, people who want to go beyond 30 metres.
And you deal with recreational diving, really, do you?
Yes, we do. We do have some dives that are suitable for people who want to do technical stuff, but we focus more on the recreational, which is closer to the shoreline, because there is just such a fantastic amount to see and do. So even within that area, there are about 200 wrecks and reefs you can visit. And wrecks are really good, not just because there's their own history and they are fascinating to dive on and to see what's happened to them, but also because they become man-made reefs and they attract the marine life, which is why you often see fishermen around the wrecks fishing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you go about it? What's the best way to start then?
The best way to start, if you don't know how to dive at all, we would say do something that's called a Discover Scuba Diving experience. This is where you have a briefing by the pool, and we use the pool at Oasis West Sands Holiday Park, so it's nice and warm all year round. We would explain to you what's going to happen and show you the equipment you're going to be using.
Now you let them have their equipment. They don't have to supply anything initially?
No, we bring along everything they need. They just need to bring their swimming costumes, their towels and a sense of fun. Then we get them kitted up and quickly get them in the water. Once people are happy breathing underwater and swimming around, then we try to teach them a few simple skills. If people are happy with that, they can usually immediately sign up and go on to learn to dive. And we have an offer to encourage people to do that because we would prefer people to come and try Discover Scuba Diving first rather than pay for the course and discover actually it's not for them at all because they don't really like it very much.
Right, so I understand that. I mean, it's not a cheap sport initially, is it?
Depends on what you're comparing it to. If you compare it to golf, a set of golf clubs can cost a small fortune, so diving equipment then works out pretty cheap. And playing around a golf is more expensive than going for a day's diving.
Is it really?
It is indeed, including the fact that you've got to have membership of the golf club to go and do that.
And what sort of age group are you looking for here?
Right, well, children, you can learn to dive from age 12 upwards.
Right.
Those between 10 and 12 need an assessment with an instructor first. And then we have a children's club for those who are 8 and upwards, although we have them as young as 5 because they come and learn how to snorkel to give them confidence before they go on to do other stuff. So we run a children's club. The oldest, there is no upper age limit. It's whether or not you can just be fit to go diving. And the oldest person we've taught to dive was 68 years old.
Oh, that's not bad.
Not bad at all. And he's still diving.
Good.
So, yes. So there is no upper age. So it's suitable for anyone if that is what you want to do. What we love about diving is that when you go diving, you never know what you're going to see.
So what days of the week do you normally do diving?
Well, the shop is open 7 days of the week. The dive centre is open 7 days of the week. The boat mainly runs at weekends, and most of our activities are focused around weekends all year round because that's when people are available to go diving. Work commitments mean otherwise that they're not available during the week. Because we have the holiday park up at West Sands, a lot of people come down from London over the main holidays, and they are here on holiday and they want to go diving during the week. So July, August, September, we tend to organise more activities midweek as well. But we also organise evening dives for people.
Can you dive on your own, or do you have to go in pairs? Or two,
You can go
numbers?
diving on your own, but you have to be specially trained for it.
Right.
It's far more fun to dive with what we call a buddy. Not only for safety, but for fun and enjoyment. There's nothing like spotting something absolutely fantastic underwater, finding your first fan worm or your first seahorse or cuttlefish, and having someone to point it out to. Otherwise, nobody else is going to believe that's what you saw. Or, as happened to us one day when travelling on the boat, come across a whole pod of dolphins. If you were the only one out there, nobody would believe that's what you'd seen if you didn't have a camera with you.
No.
If there's at least two of you, there's some chance they're going to believe you really did see a pod of dolphins out there.
And how clear is the water out there?
That really depends on the weather.
Yeah.
At the present time today, I don't think you'd get more visibility in a cup of milky coffee, actually. It's very mucky indeed. But we've had visibility up to 15 metres.
Oh, really?
Yes, and in one exceptional summer, there's a wreck called the Shirala where the bottom is at 25 metres. The boat skipper on the surface could see the divers on the bottom.
Really?
Yeah.
I always think, you associate diving with Barbados and all that sort of thing and warm waters, but there's as much fun, if not more, here, isn't there?
There is a lot more fun here. Sometimes the restricted visibility makes it more fun because you can't see miles ahead to see what's coming up next, so you focus on what's close to you. Also, it's such a wonderful thing to do, the feeling of being weightless, that you don't really see things underwater. You don't really want to wait till you can go to Barbados once or twice a year to do this. We have as much marine life and very similar species to what they have in the rest of the world. The only difference here is because our water is often slightly colder, is it may be smaller, it may not be quite so brightly coloured, but you can see everything. We have members of the shark family, all the way down to what are called nudibranchs. In your garden you would call them slugs, and they think they're disgusting. Underwater divers think they're wonderful. They're small, they're brightly coloured, and they're absolutely beautiful. They look like something out of an alien species. There are always the cuttlefish, which everyone finds absolutely fascinating. And as I said earlier, if you're really lucky, you can find the seahorses, and it's quite easy to find the pipefish, which are a member of the same family.
Well, your enthusiasm, I'm sure, has created a lot of interest for people who are listening to this. So what's the best way they can start? How do they go about it now?
The best thing to do would be to call us and to book a Discover Scuba Diving experience.
And the telephone number is?
01243 60 1000.
Excellent. 01243 60
1000.
Excellent. So just phone up, ask for you or anybody else who answers
You
the phone.
can ask for anybody else who answers the phone. It is a family-run business, and you'll probably either get Linda, Steve or Anya, so there'll be one of us here who will answer your questions.
Excellent. Well, that's lovely. Well, thank you very much indeed, Linda. You've really created, I think, a lot of interest in diving for me. I don't think I'm quite young enough to do it, but you never know, I might try.
You never know till you try.
Anyway, Mulberry Divers, East Beach, give them a ring and see what to do. Number again?
01243 60 1000.
Thank you very much indeed, Linda. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now, are you ready for our next item, a scary ghost story?
Hello, my name's Tom. Well, doesn't really matter what my name is. I'm just going to do some short stories about ghosts in Selsey. I bet you didn't know we had many ghosts, but we do, quite a few. I got interested because, I got one in my house. Well, cottage, really. I live in, we'll call it Rose Cottage. We don't really need to know where I live and much about it. But I have this ghost, you see, and I discovered it because when I went to the toilet at night, get to my age and you have to do that sort of thing more often. Anyway, go to the toilet at night and there's this white shimmering figure sitting in my bath. Well, my friend Tom, he reckons that I'm the lucky one, but no. And then he said, but it's not a real ghost, silly old fool. He says it's just a reflection in your shower screen of the street lights. Well, I point out to him that the figure I see's been there a lot longer than these newfangled white street lights. It was white when we had the old orange lights there, and I guess it probably was there when we had the old gas lamps. You remember gas lamps? Well, I do. Well, I wasn't in Selsey at the time, but when I was a kid up in Whitton, Middlesex, there was gas lamps then. Yeah, I remember them. Used to pop on at night and pop off in the morning. Yeah. And you see, today they talk about automation getting rid of people's jobs. Well, what happened to all the old lamplighters then? They used to go around lighting the lamps with long poles, and then someone came along with the idea of getting the lamps to light automatically using electricity. So that was it. All the lamps were lit automatic, like so. Anyway, there we go. Enough of that. So anyway, yes, this figure's white. And you know, I go into the loo at night and there's this big white shimmering figure sitting in the bath, and it disappear almost straight away. I reckon she didn't like me watching, well, she didn't like watching me mooning to her in the middle of the night. It disappeared, gone, just like that. But she was there every time I went in, sitting in my bath. So anyway, eventually I got so, well, interested that I wondered if it was a ghost and where she'd come from. So I went down to the museum and saw that Go Lightly woman who runs the museum. The curator, I think they call her. Anyway, she's a funny old stick, isn't she? You know, wears all these flowing robes and long hair and beads and things. Anybody thinks she was an hippie when she was younger? Possibly was. Smells a bit funny though, not nasty way, but you know, like mothballs, camphor type smell all of the time. But she's quite a nice duck, really. You know, we have a nice chat. Anyway, I went in and I spoke to her about my cottage, and I said about this ghost, and she said, well look, I tell you what, I'll go look up some details. You sit there and you draw a plan of your cottage, especially where the bathroom be, and if you do the whole cottage, then we'll have a look. Anyway, well, I sat there and I drew the drawings, and a few minutes later she come back again, this Miss Golightly, and she had a picture and a plan of the cottage as it used to be. And sure enough, the scullery where this old lady was found dead is right where my bathroom is now. Apparently, she'd been in the village the previous day, right as rain, chatting away to people, gone to the bakery and bought a large loaf, and also 2 pints of milk. Now, what they were interested in, why was a woman living on her own wanting 2 pints of milk and a large loaf of bread? Anyway, following day no one had seen her, so they went back to her cottage, neighbours and all, and knocked on the door. No one answered, but the latch was off, so they went in, and there she is, sitting cold, stone dead, right in the middle of her scullery on a chair. There was no milk left in the jug, and just a few scraps of bread. Now they reckon that the bread had been there earlier, because if there was just a few scraps left, the mice would have got it if it had gone a long time before. So obviously someone had been there before, but no one had seen anyone in or out of her house, and there she was dead in mysterious circumstances. And that's her sitting in my bath. Well, I tell you what, I didn't half put the wind up me, I can tell you. Well, you know, I get in the shower and there I am, soaping away at my private parts, so to speak. Nothing nasty, you understand. You know, not trying to put anybody off, but there's this old lady sitting there, staring me right in the nethers. Well, I tell you what, it puts the wind up me fair something rotten, it does. Never mind, I have to put up with it. I can't see her, of course, not during the day, and I don't have showers in the middle of the night, so there we go. But I'm thinking of moving the house round again and maybe putting the bathroom somewhere else. Well, I can't be having with this woman staring at me every time I go to the loo in the middle of the night, can I? Anyway, that's me ghost story for this week. I'll see you again sometime. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you for listening, and I'll hand you over to Bruce for his thought for the day. Bye for now.
We have recently at the Methodist Church, in working together with all the churches in Selsey, set up a food bank. We're doing it because we love our neighbour and we want to help people and to actually do something about not just saying go in peace, keep warm and eat your fill. We're doing something about supplying a need that's in Selsey, one that surprised me and probably surprises many people. Our food bank operates in the Methodist Church on a Friday evening from 4 till 6, where people can come along and have access to food in time of crisis. It's not a bank where we feed you every week. It's about helping people in crisis, because we don't want to make people dependent on us as a food bank. What we want to do is help people in a crisis to move on, to engage them in the proper agencies throughout Chichester and our environs, and to find a way of getting out of the trouble they're in. And ours is a first step. There are agencies at the Selsey Information Exchange where you can pick up a voucher, in the town hall. If your children go to the schools, most of the schools in the area now have a voucher scheme or part of it. It's hard sometimes to actually ask for help, but help is there, and it's there because as Christians, as brothers and sisters, as just people who care, we're there to help in time of need. Please, don't be ashamed. Don't worry about it. Seek out the various places you can get a voucher and come and see us. Even come and talk to us if you haven't got a voucher, and we can help you out in your moment of crisis. It's a place where you'll be offered tea and coffee, a place where you can privately talk about your problems, and a place where you can find help in so many different ways that goes beyond food. We hope and pray that as Christians and people who care in Selsey, who run this food bank, you can appreciate us as we appreciate you. Amen.